Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Thursday nights. Thank you for allowing me to take a 2-week vacation, but we are back and better. And look what I got on. That's right. The Contagion Effect hat came in a couple weeks ago, and now the shirt came in. There's an issue with the website, but I have a link in it, so I'd appreciate if you go like, share, subscribe, and send it off to your buddies. Welcome, chat crew. Thank you for joining us. Scott Thatcher. Yeah, I know you do. It'd be nice to chat with you once in a while, but I know you got, your Texas boys over there. Thanks for joining. I do appreciate it, dude. We're slow, but we're hiring. So there you go. That's how we're doing out here. JD, thank you, sir. Welcome to the show. Glad you are still alive and above ground. That is awesome. I appreciate you guys. It has been it's been an enjoyable week. I have missed being behind the mic. I understand. I bet. I understand that, it's one of those processes and having a live show is different because you don't know what the hell is going to happen. You don't know, you plan for certain things, but hey, sometimes this doesn't work out. Right. Dave, Stacy at 22 Mohawks, thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing and being supporters of our great military and your program that you guys have. If you guys go check out 22mohawks.com or .org. Oh man, I'm gonna mess that up. But that's what it is. Go check it out. Hero Stock, what is up? Thank you. Big things, huge things coming for Hero Stock. If you don't know, Rolla, Missouri's coming up. There are 4 dates this year, and it's going to come up faster than we think. Thank you, and we appreciate your support because Hero Stock is what we all strive to give back, and that's what it is. Joel Hunt with Military Broadcast Radio. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. I would like to I want to invite everyone to go check out Military Broadcast Radio because guess what? We are now live streaming on TikTok through Military Broadcast Radio, the platform that gives veterans a voice and gives a platform to realize, man, we need to support and we need to take care of our military. We need to hey, I get messages throughout the week. Hey, man, you all good? Hey, I check on you. Thank you, Mark Peterson. Thank you, sir. Appreciate those. It doesn't take but 30 seconds to send a text message, right, Scott Thatcher? It doesn't hurt anyone, but I'll tell you what, it makes your soul feel better to go check out and make sure your boys are okay. But all kidding aside, send a message to somebody, make a call, even if they don't answer, leave them a voicemail. You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful for the voicemails that I have saved on my phone because some of the people that have left them are not with us anymore. And it's one of those things where you can go back and listen to the voice. Give a text message, let people know. Let's grow. Let's go. I have a gentleman coming up today who has a reach of hundreds and thousands of people, and he's doing really awesome. I mean, just crazy good things. That is, he's a godsend. First of all, I know he has a group and accolades. He's not. I know he's going to kind of brush him aside and stuff, but what he's doing is great. I don't want to introduce him yet, but go check it out. Y'all know I share the hell out of people. And this gentleman has an enormous group around him that is doing crazy, awesome things for veterans, first responders, families, law enforcement. So check that out. The 105th episode today is sponsored by Miller Mobile Tax Service. If you haven't got on the schedule yet for this year, you're not lucked out. No, you didn't luck out. You may have to file an extension because the dude's busy AF, as the kids say. Give him a chance. He's actually got a couple days off in a row this year. I know it's tax season. It is what it is. But Miller Mobile Tax Service, thank you for being a proud sponsor of the Contagion Effect Show.
Do you dread having to do your taxes? Does the mere thought of it make your head spin? Miller's Mobile Tax Service is here for you. We will handle your individual or business taxes. We will come to you to prepare your taxes. We are skilled, professional, and ready to get started for you. Call 209-678-8515.
Still hope that's the phone number. The phone number. Just kidding with you. Ladies and gentlemen, also sponsor a great sponsor of Wreaths Across America. That didn't make sense. A proud sponsor of Contagion Effect is Wreaths Across America. Remember, you can buy your wreaths. $5 goes back to. We're changing it up a bit. We're not getting the direct $5 back to us so we can bless whatever program or organization that we feel. What we're doing is we're going to let them decide. And so, it's going to be awesome. We're working with them. We're going to get a new link and we're going to be able to direct send money to whatever program and organization that we feel. Let me rephrase that. They all need help and support, but it's not coming directly to me. We're going to be sending it to each organization. Anyways, maybe I should have written that down. Not wrote, but maybe I should have written that down. So let's do one more commercial, then we'll get into the real show and why we're here, because I can't find it now. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons we get to do it is the support from the Contagion Effect show. Can also be heard on Wreaths Across America Radio on Truckin' Tuesdays at 11 p.m. Eastern. You can find Wreaths Across America Radio on the iHeart app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. Search the word. Remember.
Honor. Teach.
Give the gift of remembrance. Sponsor a $17 Veterans Wreath for an American hero. Learn more at wreathsacrossamerica.org.
wreathsacrossamerica.org, great organization. Thank you. Appreciate that. There's a few people that I get to talk to weekly basis, and they're great. It's awesome, and a great supporter for us. We'll wait on the next one. We got to get to it. We only have, another 97 minutes left on the show, but we will start the show this way.
Yeah, the times and places, they may change, but one thing stays the same. The stories that they tell about going through hell, if you think they wouldn't do it all over again, well, you just don't know them. The memories that they own of the ones who didn't make it home, yeah, sure do miss them, but they keep them all living in the stories that they tell.
Thank you, ScottyHastings.com. ScottyHastings.com for all of your veteran country music swag. He is a beautiful human being. Another beautiful human being, if I could say that, if I could slow down a little bit and actually say it correctly. Another beautiful human being who is going to be joining us in a bit. He has a website that is, oh man, solid as a rock. If you'd like to donate to the organization, there will be a link directly associated with the show tonight. They have Square, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, all that cool stuff, and we're going to get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the owner operator and the CEO, the CFO, also the janitor, and I believe probably a lot of other things. Brian Romans, thank you, sir, for joining us here at the Contagion Effect.
What's going down, man? Thanks for having me, Eric. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, I know it's a long time coming. I do appreciate the wherewithal of being in the now, right? It's so easy to get tied up in life and forget what's going on and stuff. And so I did bombard you with a few emails. So I do appreciate the understanding on that, because you have a great organization. You have many organizations, and I want to share it. I want to get people involved for you. And I think, again, it's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. I think what you're doing is great. What we like to do, what we started at the Contagion Effect, is we want to find out where Brian came from, and then we'll get to the now. So where did you grow up? Where did you, high school and all that stuff? And how did you get involved in the military, basically?
Well, I mean, let's be unpolitically correct from the start, right? So I was one of those shy, little skinny nerds, man. Grew up in a small town in Romeoville, Illinois, and I like to run my mouth. And what I mean by that is I didn't have a filter. I was never taught, hey, bite your tongue in certain situations.
Yeah. So
I would always run around at the mouth, and then my dad in 1992, my dad's plant closed down and they moved to Mexico, out of Chicago. So we ended up moving back down to Alabama, where his family is from, and straight in high school, man, first day, just about got into a fight, without meaning to. I wasn't going to be able to hurt anybody or whoop anybody. I would have got my tail whooped, but that's just what it was. I was always the one that stood up for other people. And then out of high school, my brother, he actually joined the Marine Corps 2 years before I did. And when the recruiter came out and showed the video of the guys crawling through the mud at boot camp with the barbed wire going around and the rounds going down range, I'm like, hell yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it started with, my uncle was in the Marine Corps. My brother went in 2 years before I did. And then I went in, and it truly saved my life in so many ways. I never knew or expected to live past 16 years old. And when I made it to 18, I was like, holy crap, I'm here. Let's shoot for 21, and it just kind of always setting those boundaries. And now it's like, let's live year to year and embrace what we have. But getting into the Marine Corps, man, I was able to finally gain weight. I mean, when I say this, I was 96 pounds from the time I was a freshman till the time I got to boot camp. 96 pounds soaking wet of nothing but
piss and vinegar.
Politically correct
in the world,
right? But they bulked me up, like Marine Corps boot camp does. And then the cool thing was on graduation morning, when you have we used to have family day the day before, then graduation or family day, you got to spend some time with your mom and dad or your loved ones there on Paris Island. And my mom walked right past me, didn't even recognize me. And I'm like, okay, Marine Corps did some right. Marine Corps did some right.
Awesome. Wait, did you say Marine Corps?
Yes, sir.
Well, hold on a second, because one of our good friends of the show, Mr. Partington, who also has a fabulous podcast, he's another gym. I would like to play this because I've heard the Marine Corps 7 or 8 times already. So let's play. I got a little snippet here for you. It's about a minute long.
Good morning, Marines everywhere. Today is November 10th, 2023. It's our birthday, and we actually know when our birthday is. So without any further ado, the annual birthday singing of the Marine Corps hymn anthem. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our nation's battles in the air, on land, and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine. Hoorah! Semper Fi! Do or die. Number 248. Happy birthday, Marines.
I love it.
Yeah, and so it was funny because we're going through it, and he is a media guy. He's been on C-SPAN, and he has a great show on MBR and on MUPS, and all the cool sites and stuff. And I came across that, and I'm like, man, I gotta play that. And there's another one. He's got a little tutu on, and he's just a good, quiet dude. And I told Travis, I'm like, dude, every single show I'm playing that. I don't care, Marines or Navy. I'm gonna trim it down a little bit for the beginning part because it says today is, but it's not, because today is today's today, right? We're rebroadcasting, so when we throw a date out there, it kind of whacks it off. Wait a minute. And I'm glad you caught that, okay? I'm glad you caught that. because I don't know how many people will catch that, but I'm just saying, the type
Oh,
of show we
man.
are here. We're professionals. I'm telling you. Anyways, so your mom walks by you. She has no clue. So you got what you want. You got what you needed, right? Like, I mean, hey, like I need to go in as a kid, come out as a man, and that's literally the tagline, right?
Absolutely. It changed. It transformed me. And
Yeah.
what really, it kind of pissed my mother off. And there was an incident, I think it was either on the way home or after boot leave or whatever. And my attitude was a lot stronger. And my mother,
Yeah.
you know, her, I'm gonna quote her, I would hope the Marine Corps would have knocked that attitude off your ass, not give you the confidence.
Yeah, right.
You know, and
That's
here we
awesome.
are. So, but no, man, I love the Marine Corps. I miss it every day. I did 15 years. I was retired medically
Wow.
against my will. But my phone number is still the same. I still get calls from my Marines randomly throughout the year,
Oh, that's
whether it be
awesome,
just to
dude.
check in or, hey,
Yeah.
Staff Sergeant, I've got this situation. What would you do? Or what do you think I
Yeah.
should do? You know, it's an awesome feeling to be able to reconnect and actually hear their voice instead of just through a message on the Facebook or whatever, you know?
Yeah, no, and you know, we'll get into the different organizations that you got going. Oh, there's Nana Penny. Nana Penny, what is up? What's up, Nana? Hey, real quick, hey, we're babysitting tomorrow night if you want to come over. The Nana hasn't got to she's been a little sick and under the weather. So if you want to make the trek over to River Point, yeah, come love on Kinsley. You know, it's that's what I love about it is what we encompass, right? And the messages and the stories and all that stuff that we get to talk about. And you know, you sharing that people that you served with reach out, you know, and that's what I said at the beginning, man. Send people message, send a message to someone. You know, this was it was going to be the third week that we were going to back off, but I'm like, nah, dude, like I appreciate everybody that's listed on our site and that supports us and who we have booked up, you know,
Right.
And we had to get back into it because it's too easy to say, oh, we'll push it off. Oh, we'll reschedule. Oh, and I do apologize for those, you know, the two that we had to reschedule. Again, it gets into the part of just send me a message. Like, I just need to know that you're still interested. Like, I'm here for you. Like, this would be your show. If I stop rambling, we'll get on to the rest of it. But I do appreciate what you do and sharing the hell out of it because that's what it is. You know, we have Joel and we have Mark and we have Jason and the different podcasts and groups, and we meet up at Hero Stock and oh shoot. Anyways, I'm just totally blanked on it. Down in Louisiana, that People's Patriot Project is doing. They have a get together. Yeah, and so that's gonna be awesome. You know? Yeah, Bourbon. Yeah, I mean, I love all those guys, John and Andrea and Mark, and it's awesome. And you know, obviously, we have a lot of guests that go on different shows, and it is what it is. And there's always a story there that we didn't hear before, right?
Right.
So, so MOS was what, and where did you get sent off to?
Well, before we jump into that, I'm going to
applaud.
Oh shoot! I'm going to applaud you because one of the things that we strive for is family first. And by you bringing Nana and telling Nana to come over tomorrow, that was 100% spot on, man. Because without that family support, we can't do what we do. So thanks, Nana Penny, for being there and going and supporting Eric and loving on them grandbabies and babies, because that's what it's all about. It truly is about family first, right? And then
absolutely
with those organizations that you just spoke of, that's what is so cool about what we've been able to do, especially the past 2 years. We dug into what's called locking shields. And we, you know, we're not trying to coin that phrase, but by locking shields with like-minded organizations, such as Jeremy Steiner with Hero Stock, Mark up there with WP3 Patriot Project, Jonathan with Bourbon Battle Buddies and WP3. You know, we've got our programs that are going out there. We got Scotty Hastings speaking about a couple of things, Sal Gonzalez, Stephen Cochran, the list goes on. It's all about locking those shields with those like-minded organizations because, and I'll tell you one thing that'll piss me off bigger than anything, and some of these guys that I mentioned already know this. When I've heard, and it's been told to me, and I quote, well, I can't help you, you're my competition. The hell
really?
you
Yeah.
say,
See?
because
Yeah.
there is no competition to help a
Yeah.
veteran. We team
There's
up and we
no-
help that
yeah.
veteran first responder, period.
Yeah. For
Period.
sure. That's the frustrating. And I've had that conversation with Mark, and I've had that conversation with Brian, who is part of Every Day's a Saturday podcast, and him and Tom Ettinger. And it's we've had that conversation. It's just frustrating because we're like, I get vetting out people that are kind of in it for the wrong reason, right? And that has to be done. It really does. You can't just support someone and come to find out like, oh, that's kind of not the way what we want to go with, right?
Yeah.
There's no competition. I am the least competitive person of, oh, I can't do this. Oh man, I can't go to that show, or I can't like that person. I can't like that show. I don't give a shit who you are or what you got going, because if it's to help a veteran, dude, please come on to the show. Please send a
100%.
message or share. Like, I mean, you know, the cheapest thing to do to support your friend is to share something, right?
Yep.
It doesn't cost anything. That's why it's the cheapest, right? Jason White, thank you for showing up. Appreciate that. Semper Fi, Warrior Wills Foundation would love to lock shields for. Absolutely. And I don't want to say this, but if you want to send me a message, I'm not sure what I don't know my calendar. I don't know the layout all the way out to. So I do apologize if you haven't, send me a message. We'll get you hooked up. I'll send you the link to Calendly. It's super easy. You get to go on, pick your own date. But yeah, no, Nana's cool. Nana's cool. Everyone loves Nana. She got to go to Hero Stock with me to see Jason and everybody, and it was cool. Yeah, no, we can't wait. I know you already got your tattoo of him. She's got all the grandkids, and now this is her first great grandkid. So yeah, go. Nana's hella old, but she still gets around. So
hell yeah. The second thing you mentioned was, you spammed my email, and you're telling everybody else, hey, check your email. That you're blowing us out. We need you to do that, because without that accountability, how are we going to continue to spread the message about what we're doing and what we can offer and how we can help? So I appreciate you for doing that.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, I'm going to send as many as I can. I start on Saturday and I go to Monday, then I get in the official, sends you a link, the share, the join us. And then, I kind of wait till Monday and I'll send it again. And, I don't want someone to miss out on the opportunity. I really don't, because
I was honestly waiting for that hate message of, hey, MFer, what you doing? Why aren't you responding?
But you would respect that too, because we can cuss. We're adults. We pay taxes and we have mortgages, right?
Let's do it.
I want to do something different real quick. I know we got a lot to get to. I know you're trying to fight a war. You're trying to fight the weather, a war. Well, yeah, that could be a war too. I'm trying to do something real quick. I'm trying to move this up here real quick. I'm getting a good collection of books, by the way. Appreciate all my authors. Love everyone. We'll get to it. There's a book that I think is absolutely amazing, and it's the Veteran Workbook. It's by Jenna Carlton. She is a veteran, and she has written this book that has helped me out in our forums that we do. We will roll through it and just stop on a page, and we'll ask a question of what it is. And I want to do that right now, actually. And I know we have a lot to get to. And it's going to be such an easy one. How you doing, man? How you doing? Literally, page 101. That's the question. How you doing?
Personally or professionally?
Your program. You tell me.
Well, truth be told, and this is where my wife might, if you see a flip flop or something coming over like a projectile, she's got great aim.
Yeah.
No, it's just what people don't get is when you're invested, when you're passionate about what you're doing, and you have the fuel. So the first and foremost is we don't get paid for what we do. In any of our programs, we do not receive a paycheck. What we do and why we're invested is because I know what it's like to get that phone call of, hey, bro, I just want to let you know 45 minutes ago, so-and-so shot himself.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, shit. And you're left sitting there and your mind starts wondering, well, why didn't he
reach out?
It comes back again. And you do all this circling and you're running yourself ragged. Our fuel to our fire is to prevent that. Yeah. Our fuel to our fire is when we see, and I'll get more into this later, but when we see a family or a loved one or a fellow service member come up at Global War on Terror Wall of Remembrance, and they have that aha moment, And that aha moment is followed by instant emotion. And then you kind of got to shield them from the outside world, seeing that fracture, seeing that vulnerability. And you do what we do in the service. You protect them. Hey man, I got you. Why don't you come back over here? Let's talk about it. You know, that is what fuels us. That is what our, for lack of a better word, our payment is. And I hate using that, coining that phrase or using that phrase, but that's truly what it is. And that fuels me to keep going. That fuels us to keep driving on. Brian Romans is dead ass broke. Okay. Brian Romans is like a PFC again. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Our foundation grows and moves on the generous contributions of our followers, of our sponsors, and of our event hosts. And I have to say that because so many people they don't know what it's like to actually run a nonprofit. A nonprofit is just like any other business. However, we don't have a service to provide to get that income stream for those that volunteer. And that's what's really unique with us is we are 100% volunteer. None of our staff takes a paycheck. It all goes back into the program to propel the mission, to keep the wall moving, to keep the veterans retreats coming in through the outdoor adventure program. So how am I doing? I'm excited. I'm anxious for our season to start. It starts in June, tail end of June, beginning of May, or I'm sorry, tail end of April, beginning of May. I'm terrified like hell because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring financially for our organization. When we take the memorial out, it's either a pickup truck and a trailer or a 45-foot RV and a trailer, depending on what the cost scenarios are. And we're trying to put so much more back into a next generation memorial because it's been weathered, it's been battered, and we're providing a service to our veteran and first responder and Gold Star family communities. But if we had that golden ticket, we could provide so much more. So I'm financially concerned. I'm emotionally frustrated, but all in all, man, we're in it. We're in it to win it. And nothing's going to beat us down. Nothing's going to stop us from it. I used to say this all the time to a couple of friends when I was doing some life coaching stuff. And, you know, it's just an obstacle. An obstacle is just something put in your path. And you have a couple of choices. You can either let it beat you down, or you can go around it, go over it, go under it. Or my favorite is to get freaking fired up and blast right through the damn thing. Trying to be politically correct. I know you told me before in the green room, but.
So that was one of the things that we said whenever we started this thing. It's going to be very difficult to tell a military service man or woman to not cuss. And I took it to the next level. I went off and I'm like, oh, and I've toned it down, but by all means, man, the passion's there. I can hear it. I can tell. I know that there are people out there that want to donate or that can donate and should donate because, I've seen the wall, not in person, but I've seen what you guys have went through. I've seen the progress, the setbacks, and the triumphs. And I think that, you know, I'm hoping that we can get you some money because it needs to be done. It needs to get done. It needs to have the backing of everybody. We don't beg for money. We don't ask for money, but that's what it is. It's the donation to keep it going. It's the 78-year-old widower whose husband committed suicide 6 years ago, who got to go to Nebraska to see what the organizations that were brought together. It was that comforting, hey, I'm glad you're here. I know what you've went through, but we want to love on you, right?
Right.
So I'm hoping that we can do something for you there.
Well, I appreciate that.
Breaking news.
Mail call.
Mail call. I got you, Mickey D's. Going to Kohl's. Love you, Cam. Thank you, kid.
Where's mine?
Hey,
Where's mine?
Brian wants to know. Hey, Brian wants to know where's his double Mac, his double Big Mac. Yeah. Yeah, that's Cammy. That's Cammy.
Oh, that's pretty cool. You can see me.
That's the green screen, kid. That's why we get to do it, right?
I know.
Congratulations to Cammy, by the way. She is officially graduated from cosmetology school. Thank you, Sonora, for embracing my daughter.
Congrats.
all your yeah. And so that's awesome. Yeah, it is. It's cool, man. We've kind of shared this room in here.
Yeah.
I've got some deadheads, I got some brunettes and some redheads. I got Jerry curls, perm curls. Jerry, I almost said Jerry curls, but yeah. Let me see. Yeah, see, I mean, it's only weird. It's only weird if it doesn't happen, right? I mean, yeah.
if you start
Anyways.
making out with that thing, I'm
Yeah,
walking.
right, right. So again, I know. So we are Patriot Pride. Mark, thank you, sir. I thanked you earlier in the show, and I do appreciate that. I have I got a message from Mark last night. I was sleeping. I didn't want to text him. I got to add the 2s and the 3s, and I forget how many hours ahead and da da da. So I
Right.
appreciate that as the side TV went off. So now I'm going to try to do this. We just lost our TV over there, but that's all right because we're going to keep going. Again, Jeremy, I thank you. I sent an email out to a friend who works for the VA, and I sent the clips of the pictures and papers that you post. And so hopefully I get an email back because I want to help out too. And we know you're not dead. And we appreciate what you do, and hopefully we can talk later about doing something for you. So it really just sucked. Let's see if it goes back up quick.
Might as well
Oh,
get
shoot.
to McDonald's, man. I mean, I can.
No,
smell
it's it was very nice that she did that. But yeah, it's yeah, I'm lost right here. Now everything just popped up on my screen. I'll get that. I'll get. Remember, it's a live show. It's what happens, right?
My wife says I make friends
all right,
everywhere
so
I go.
let's.
So.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I was on a cruise and sat there and drank a bucket of beers with some dude, and I didn't even know where he was from. I did notice that you have Muscle Shoals, right? Like that's
Yes.
that's in a song. Am I not
Yes,
right? Yeah,
it is.
squirrel, I know.
Leonard Skinner, yeah.
Yeah, Leonard Skinner, Muscle Shoals.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, man.
okay,
It's got a lot of musical history. It's got a lot of soul. And, people praise on Fame Recording Studios here in Muscle Shoals. Elvis Presley, Shenandoah is actually from here. Marty Raybon is from Tuscumbia.
Awesome.
Chubby Checker, all Fats Domino, all the greats recorded at Fame. And even a lot of the younger kids, Rihanna has recorded at Fame Recording Studios here in Muscle Shoals. But even bigger than Muscle Shoals is you got the Sheffield Sound. Back when segregation was still in play, you had Fame and then you had Sheffield Sound. Sheffield Sound really dialed it in with the Swampers, and then Fame kind of got involved in that, and that's more political crap than I care to even try to understand.
So is music is a music a drive for you? Is that something that you play? Do you have because obviously, or is it just because it's history of where you're from?
Hell no, I have nothing to do with music. I mean,
No, that's awesome.
The only time I sing is in the shower or when my wife makes me get up and do karaoke. I cannot play an instrument to save my life.
I'm really good at karaoke because I play. It's that one song that just totally skipped my brain right now. Oh God, what a horrible show this is! I forgot. Anyways,
hey, if you give me a sound digitizer, I'll be good as Kane Brown, man.
Yeah, I mean. Well, let's talk about that real quick. So, let's get back because the MOS.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of the little bit of the military stuff that you did. So
you asked me about my MOS.
Yeah.
My MOS was 2147 light armored vehicle repair technician. 8-wheel tanks on steroids that would literally, the faster you go over uneven terrain, the smoother the ride was. Had 9 different variants. The most lethal was the 25 millimeter chain gun, and I can tell you that it can literally make a transit bus, a public bus, Swiss cheese in a matter of seconds. It can annihilate in a matter of seconds. I mean, the 25 millimeter chain gun is an amazing design to be able to put in a mounted vehicle platform. And then you got the shoot on the move capability with the mortar system, because you had a mortar variant, you had an AT2 tank, anti-tank missile system that's now been changed. I think they've upgraded to Stingers or something since I've gotten out. Just an awesome array of vehicles. And the vehicle history itself, the Army wanted it back in the 70s. 1977, GM was contracted to build light armored vehicles for the Army. The Army was thinking about going away from their tracked vehicle program. Well, in 78, they had their first prototype hit and they started doing testing. And the light armored vehicle did not fit within the Army's matrix of what they wanted to do. They decided to stick with the Bradley. So the Marine Corps saw this prototype in some kind of military test bed, I think either at Aberdeen Proving Grounds in Maryland, or it might have been out in, I think it's Nevada or Arizona. And the Marine Corps was like, yeah, we want it. We want it to go and enhance our amphibious fleet. Well, I'll tell you first thing, the LAV cannot go in water that has over a 3-foot swell because it will sink faster than a rock.
Wow.
I've got still pictures of a colonel, an unnamed colonel, sinking his vehicle in the Colorado River during a training exercise. But the LAV is just an awesome platform, and the LAV is the birthright of what the Army now calls their Stryker variant. Strikers are bigger, they're heavier with less lethal firepower. They only have I think it's a 240 or a 50 cal on them, but that's the history of the LAV. And I served at 1st Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion. I went on recruiting duty for a while, and then I was on recruiting duty when 9/11 happened in South Jersey. When that happened, I had actually heard Howard Stern joking about the first plane on the radio. He didn't know if it was real or not. And for those of you who don't know, Howard Stern, back in his early days, he got famous by the Potomac River Bridge crash with TWA. So I thought he was just pulling another radio stunt. And so I called my mother on the way to the high school I was going to. I said, hey, turn on the TV and tell me what you see. And she starts crying and bawling. And I'm like, all right, there's some legitimacy to this. And I walked into Eastern High School in Voorhees, New Jersey, to talk to the guidance counselors about one of my prospects. And the second plane hit the second tower. Life-changing. Yeah. The guidance counselor starts bawling. What do we need to do? Follow your protocols. And as soon as I got that follow your protocols out, back then it's pagers, it's the brick cell phone, the flip phone. Yeah. Everything's going off. We're getting recalled. Get out of your uniform. Get out of your government vehicle. We're being attacked. Shelter in place in the office. And we were a 5-man station in South Jersey, and we were all huddled around a little black and white, like 8-inch TV, trying to get anything we could. Our boss was in Central Jersey in a meeting, and we walk outside and you can see that smoke plume going. And we tried like hell. My buddy Rob Ray and I, we tried like hell to go up and be able to help out, sifting through or doing whatever we can. And we were told no. We didn't know if we were going to get recalled to Camp Lejeune to deploy or what the situation was.
So let me stop you real quick. Yeah. So you're across the river, right?
Well, south from the river. Yeah.
Okay. So and you see in the distance what's happening.
Yes. You can see the smoke from a distance. Yeah. And and when I say a distance, Eric, I'm saying we were normal drive time, probably about an hour and a half away.
Wow.
South.
So 30 miles, 40 miles. Wow.
Yeah. And you could see it,
and not know. I mean, obviously, being there and being that close, knowing that there's a lot of shit that's about ready to change.
Oh yeah.
In the entire world. Like, let's figure out what's going on. And then oh shit. So I was in San Francisco. I was delivering groceries to a Tony Roma's restaurant. And we were downtown San Francisco. And the guy goes, hey, he's like, come watch this. And I'm like, okay, whatever, And he goes, dude, just drop everything and go. He goes, just drop everything, go. He's like, because I still had to go across from San Francisco to Oakland. So we had the Bay Bridge to go across. Yeah. And, like you're saying at that time, the pagers were going off, the messages were coming. It's like, holy crap. So when we get to Oakland, and again, waterfront property right down from the ports, and you're sitting there thinking, what's going on? You just don't know. And again, that life-changing moment is, going into the city to deliver, they pulled us over in trucks, and they didn't know if we had bombs or whatever. They didn't know what was, what the protocol was. Right. So get back to the story though, is you couldn't get in there because you guys didn't know what was going on. You didn't know what the next step was, right? I mean, not
Right,
you guys, but not.
our orders from the RS New Jersey, the recruiting station, was shelter in place, possible deployment to Camp Lejeune, going
Wow.
overseas, and
Wow.
that was within. I think we got that message probably within an hour and a half of it happening, and we were elated. We were like, "What? Are you serious? Is this
Yeah.
really happening today?" And you know, just like most of the rest of the nation, you know, and thankfully we didn't. But I was deployed or restationed down to Camp Lejeune in 2003. In 2003, the first words out of my mouth when I checked in is, "I want to deploy." I was a staff sergeant. Everything had been going on. You know, the initial invasion had already started into Iraq. And I'm like, I want to deploy me. And because with my job, the maintenance side of the light armored vehicles, they're like, well, we don't deploy staff sergeants to combat zones unless it's a company, what's called a company minus or a company plus. And I'm like, I don't care. Do whatever you have to. I want to deploy. I'll do a sergeant, but I don't care. Let me deploy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I got my wish. I was attached to the 22nd MU, the 2nd MLG, 22nd MU, 2nd. God, they're gonna hit me on this. 1-6 was our regimental leadership in there. See, oh man, see, I had that moment too. But anyway, 1-6 was the driving factor, and we were attachments to 1-6. If you guys don't know, 1-6 is a vector unit out of Camp Lejeune. They were mostly infantry, and we were in attachments along with tracks, you know, the howitzers and all that other stuff. And we went out with the 22nd MU under the 1-6 leadership, Bravo Company, and doing workups. My buddy Stephen Cochran, he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey man, we got some missions we got to talk about." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm new to the platoon. You guys all deployed to Iraq together during the invasion. There's like 4 or 5 others of us in this platoon that are new. We're still trying to work each other out. I got you." And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to him. It was a personal conversation. And fast forward to the deployment, we found ourselves in Afghanistan early of 2004. And there were little to no rules of engagement while we were in Afghanistan. And our area of operations was about the size of Texas and California combined between us and what they call Cap Platoon.
Wow.
And bro, it was just the first little bit of the deployment, getting into the country. It was a beautiful country. I mean, it was reminiscent of Western America. You know, you had the lavic rock, like in the Grand Canyon. You had crystal clear running water from the mountain down to the base of the mountain with goldfish in the stream along the side of this mutt road and generators running towns. I mean, it was really beautiful to see the accomplishments these people have had with the little bit of or lack of infrastructure that we have here in America, the things we take for granted.
Right.
And the platoon felt the same way until May 7th of 2004. May 7th of 2004, Corporal Ronald Payne Jr. Was part of a fire team that was sent out to do an observation, an LPOP as we call it, on a high-value target. And Corporal Ronald Payne Jr., there was an ambush that ensued, and he stood up to draw enemy fire. And I'll say it the way I feel it, so that 40 of us could live. We were going back and forth on this route in our vehicles for weeks on end. And, you know, you get, I'm not going to say complacent, but that was the only route in and out because of the mountains and the terrain.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't an enemy take advantage of that? And they did. They set in for an ambush on this foot patrol. And Ron stood up to draw enemy fire and allowed all of us, the 40 of us others, to live. And it kind of, that, you know, I thought 9/11 changed my life, but that instance in Afghanistan, and I'm sorry, I don't normally talk about this, but that instance in Afghanistan changed my life forever, That was the first time I had ever lost a Marine in combat. That's the first time I had ever lost somebody that I considered not a let's go out drinking buddy friend because of rank structure,
Yeah.
but that was one of my guys.
Right.
And unfortunately, when it happened, I'm in the maintenance vehicle. My vehicle was the heaviest vehicle out of all of them. And when we got on the radio, or they got on the radio, I heard contact, 2 friendly wounded. It's funny what your mind does in certain situations, because what was actually said was contact. I'm sorry. The initial thing I thought I heard was 2 enemy wounded. What was actually said was 2 friendly wounded. And we all started booking out. You know, we were, I think, if my memory serves me right, we were between 14 and 12 clicks, 12 to 14 clicks away from where they were, where their final destination was, going through 2 villages. And when we got to there, when on the way to them, the guy that I was following went through this little, might as well call it a ravine or a stream. And because again, my vehicle was the heaviest, we got stuck. I mean, I got him on the radio. I'm like, you guys keep going. We'll provide security. We'll do what we have to do. We'll steal a tractor and get out or whatever we got to do. And they went back, you know, on down to where the ambush site took place. And this was in the cover of darkness. About daylight, I get these 2 individuals, or these 2 vehicles. We called them a section. The section comes back and they're like, hey, I heard them say we've got Payne stuff in our vehicle. But what the sergeant said is we've got Payne in our vehicle.
Oh,
now,
man.
Ronald Payne was roughly 6'5", 6'6" tall, 50 to 275 pounds. And the image of, once we got my vehicle out, the image of them opening up the troop compartment on this LAV. Now, mind you, the troop compartment of the LAV is probably about 6 foot long, right? And again, Payne is 6'5", but you got to also imagine they got to be able to close the rear hatches. They got to be able to put other gear in there. And just to see the way that he was displayed in that body bag inside the back of the vehicle, dude, I flipped shit.
Yeah.
We got, my vehicle was called a logistics variant. It's the maintenance vehicle, maintenance L. And we were able to get the back of the vehicle so it was somewhat level. And we transitioned Ron's remains from that vehicle into mine. And then we went back to what's called the arrest only necessary site, the Ron site. And we're sitting there and we're waiting because everybody else is still forward. It was me, what's called a Muse vehicle, and then another vehicle that was down for maintenance. And I get this radio traffic. You know, you need to bring, because we also had 2 of the guys that were in the ambush executed their E&E plan. They ran back to that site where the rest of our vehicles, our platoon was at. And I got on the radio and let them know that we had those guys. And next thing you know, it's like, hey, you need to bring those 3 this way. Angel Flight is going to meet you in transit. And I'm like, the fuck we are? I don't have any weaponry. I've got a 240 Gulf machine gun and M4s. And you want me to go through 2 villages? No, I'm not doing this. And it was back and forth on the radio until the BLT commander himself got on the radio. And he's like, what part of this order don't you understand? And so I had to have this Marine and this sailor get in the back of my vehicle with the remains of their brother they just lost in a combat evolution less than 10 hours prior, and drive to meet this helicopter to be able to put Ron's remains on this helicopter. And we did so. Finally, I was like, okay, this whatever happens next is on your hands, Colonel. And we went through, and the Angel Flight met us, and we were able to transition Ron onto this helicopter. And once the other Marines walked off the helicopter, I looked at the first sergeant, First Sergeant McKenna, and we both just broke down. I mean, it was an emotional, I can't say cleansing, but it was an emotional breakdown. We held each other. We embraced each other. We're sobbing. And I said something to him, he said something to me, and we just looked at each other. We got to keep going for our guys because we didn't know. I think the exact words were, "I don't know how to go back to my platoon," and he's like, "I don't know how to go back to the company." And we just okay, we've got this. We've got each other. We know what we have to do. Let's get the job done. And I went back to the platoon. He went back and took Ron's remains, and then we took the other two back to where the ambush site happened so they could get interviewed, excuse me. But that was probably the first numbing thing that ever happened to me in the Marine Corps. The follow-on deployments, 2 to Iraq. There's a young man named, and I've handed flags over to mothers and to wives for our battalion. And the hardest thing that I've ever had to do was in Iraq. One of the young kids that I claim as my son in the Marine Corps, he ended up, his vehicle drove over an IED and it launched his 24,000-pound vehicle in the air like it was a die-cast car. Thankfully, himself and his driver didn't feel a thing. That's Corporal Benjamin Rosales and Lance Corporal Garvin. They didn't feel a thing. They didn't have time to feel. But we lost them in Iraq. And that's when I truly started numbing everybody out. I mean, I numbed out my family, my Marines, my leadership, my subordinates, my spouse at the time, my children. I numbed everybody out.
But see, that's the thing that civilians don't understand. If you're not in it, you don't get it. And I think, why we have started these different organizations is because you can't go in a certain way and come out the same way you came in. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because you see things that people shouldn't see, right?
Yes.
I don't want to bring up things because I've never been through, but I've heard like pink mist, right? There was in Chris Whittemore's book, which is 4 down here. I can't grab it all right now, but in Chris Whittemore's book, he describes Terror to Triumph. Sorry, thank you. Just popped in my mind. Thank you. I just thanked myself. He talks about that, right? They're at the chow line and they hear it incoming and it hits the barrack, and he's like, "There's nothing there," right? It's just it's frustrating for me. It's frustrating for me because I hear what you guys go through and I can see the pain. I mean, and these are years down the road, right? And I see what you went through, and I see that it's still a struggle, right? I mean, you can compartmentalize stuff and go through different things, but there's still pain there because they were your friends, they were your protectors, they were right next to you. Color has no bearing on what's going to happen. It doesn't have anything to do with whose time is when or whatever. But I that's the part that it befuddles me because we expect our military to come out and be okay. Why can't you just get over it? Like, why can't you just get over it? You know what I'm saying?
Because it's in my face 24/7.
Yeah. Well, just get over it though.
The war's past, and God, I love our veterans that have paved the way for me to serve. I really do. The war's past, they didn't have social media. They didn't have TV. They didn't have news embedded with us because they think it's their First Amendment right to report everything that goes on at the front lines back home. It's just a constant reminder. And what truly drove me to start the Romans Warrior Foundation is two things culminated it to start the organization. It was a deer tried killing me on a motorcycle at 55 miles an hour. A 10-point, 250-pound Indiana buck hit me at 55 miles an hour on a 2012 Street Glide, Harley-Davidson Street Glide. I flew 60 feet. The bike went 70 feet past me. It killed the deer, killed the bike, and they thought I was dead on the inside. Adrenaline was keeping me alive.
Yeah.
They flew me down to Louisville Trauma, and I think it was like at 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours later, I walked out under my own power. No broken bones, no internal injuries. I've got a scar on my wrist from road rash, and I had road rash down my entire body, but There was nothing really wrong with me. And
Wow.
I'm like, okay, God, you have my attention.
Yeah.
Sending me to Afghanistan didn't get my attention. Sending me to Iraq twice didn't get my attention. Throwing a damn deer at me on a motorcycle, you got my attention.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, what do you want me to do? What's next? And I'm not a religious guy. I wasn't at the time real religious. I wasn't into the Bible. I wasn't into the gospel. I had zero faith in a spiritual realm, let alone humanity. But in that moment, it was like a clarity. I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. And just before that had happened, we had lost another one of our guys to suicide. And Stephen Cochran and I, we've talked numerous times since we've gotten out of the military about suicide. And this one hit home because it was another one of my guys. And I said, okay, enough. We're going to do something about it. I've got a new lease on life. I'm focusing on happiness for myself and how I can better those around me, just like I did when I was in uniform. And that's what we did. So January, of all things, and I'll get to this number in a minute, January 22nd, there it is right there. January 22nd of 2016, we were given our 501c3 status from the IRS, started the Romans
Nice.
Warrior Foundation officially. Our first year, Eric, we saved 77 veteran lives from suicide by direct contact, answering the phone,
That's awesome.
answering emails, getting on a phone call, getting on a private message, and I was known to show up on doorsteps and knocking on the door and asking Marines or service members, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you isolating yourself? We're here for you.
Yeah.
That's all we exist for, is for you. And
What's up, Scott?
pulling them out of that rut. You know what I mean? We did the same with 22 first responders. Because the fires, the police that run in there and they end up having to get shot at or having to take a life,
Yeah.
God forbid. It's a similar thing. And and that first year, Eric was just like, okay, this is what we need to do. Here's what we have to do. And from there, man, we have grown exponentially. It's just we've had programs start. We've had programs that come to us for guidance and consulting on nonprofit stuff for veterans. And we've had programs that have faded out of the back. And we've got our core programs that we believe in and we invest in. And you got them up there right there. Yeah. So we got the Global War on Terror, Wall of Remembrance. We were, dude, that right there. That's
Let me ask you a
why.
question real quick. You collect your thought for a second. Let me ask you a question. How far west has it been?
California.
Has it? South,
Yes.
down south, San Diego?
No, Anderson, California. It's been in
What?
San Diego. It's been in
Anderson,
been in,
California.
Yep.
Doggone it.
Yep.
I mean,
it was up in Anderson. Dude, we were in Anderson. We were worried about the 2 forest fires that were trying to encourage
So
our
about
position.
about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago.
This was 3 or 4. Yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, because Reno, we had to go through Reno, and they were wanting to redirect us through another
Yeah.
highway that went through a 2-lane. And I'm like, I can't do a 2-lane in this.
50. It was a mess. It was a mess.
Yeah.
So I drive for Safeway. So we have stores in Reading and Anderson, Corning, all up and down the 5 right there. And again, hey, thanks, Olivia. Appreciate you for coming on. Olivia is a veteran also. She's got a special story. We had Justin Wood, Airman First Class, A1C. He was in the Kobar Towers that got bombed, and she was actually they were in the middle of bringing Justin back, and she was in Germany. Correct me, girl. I want to say it was Germany. So anyway, she was there in the transition. So it's kind of a full type of thing. And she was one of the early episodes that we had. I want to say around episode 20 or 19, something like that. But hey, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. So let's get back to this.
Yeah.
So, okay. So it's come out this way. Is there anything on the books? Is anything scheduled coming back out this way? Or I want to put down in 2025, we are trying to get hero stock to come out to California. We're in the Valley of California. Okay. People get that look whenever you say you're from
Which
California. We're in
valley?
the Valley. Yeah. Well, we're in the Central Valley. We're in the Central Valley, almonds. And, we produce like 80% of the almonds around the nation. If it's not higher, correct me, because I'm sure you guys will. But yeah, we're in the Central Valley. We're close to Modesto. So I say Modesto because that's the biggest city that we are. I'm like 10 minutes from Modesto. So it's an hour and a half south of Sac, hour and a half east of San Francisco, and Fresno's just south of us here. So
Don't you
we're
have a
like-
big venue out there?
there are a couple cool venues out here. And I know they would support veterans. And so we're definitely, as our friend Mark Peterson says, boots on the ground, trying to get something to going. But it will be 2025 just because life happens. And,
Yeah.
but,
We just need a stadium. Somebody needs
yeah.
to donate a stadium for a day.
yeah, we're definitely, I believe, the Fruit Yard has an amphitheater, which would be perfect spot up there. Yeah, NorCal's cool. There's my SoCal bro right there. Brian Roof, thanks for joining. Appreciate that. Yeah, so let's get back to it because we're just now starting to touch on the programs and the organization that you got going on. Global War on Terror, Wall of Remembrance. I know you guys went through some things to get the trailer and stuff like that. You guys had some issues last year.
Oh man, every year,
Yeah.
every year it's
Yeah.
been it's been an adventure. But and here's the thing, and I'll tell all the viewers, all the listeners, all everybody that jumps in afterwards. As long as there's $1 in my personal bank account, that wall is going to continue to move. With having 26 Marines on that wall, it's a personal mission. And I am very thankful. Let me give a shout out to my support system, my wife and my kids, my parents. They allow me to do this because if they wouldn't, they'd force me to go get a real job.
Yeah.
And I would not be able to help and make the impact to our relationships, our veterans, our first responders, our Gold Star families, the communities that we're able to do by having this thing tour around.
Yeah.
So it's every year's an adventure with this thing. We went out last year. We had the matter of fact, hey, was it last year we had Guy Fieri's guys, or was it the year before? So last year, sorry, I had to check my
check the
boss lady.
scheduler.
Yeah.
Boss lady, hey.
So last year we had this really cool event. We were called out to come to we had it in Colorado, and then we left Colorado. We went up to North Dakota, and just for grins, the wife and I, we decided to spend some quality time together. We were pulling this thing in a personally owned Allegro bus with a 28-foot trailer and going out there, and we just decided to take some time and enjoy the scenery. We haven't been up that route. So we pull into this campground resort outside of Deadwood, South Dakota. And the first night, we're thinking these people are weird because they got this whole section kind of segregated off. And I'm standing there and I'm kind of doing that Marine thing, and I'm just stalking them a little bit. And I'm like, that's Guy Fieri. And she goes, no, it's not. I said, yeah, it's Guy Fieri. That's his crew. You can't miss his haircut.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh man. And we were going to do the whole starstruck thing. And I'm like, nah, we don't need to do that. Let's just give them space, because we saw some of the kids around, and I'm like, I'm not going to interrupt anybody's time with their kids. So we go to the pool area, and then his crew comes over to the pool area for a night luau deal. And next thing you know, man, we're downtown Deadwood. We're hanging out. We're having a good time
That
with
is
all of
awesome.
his buddies. And it truly was, man. He was out there actually filming. Was it Guy's Road Trip? Yeah, Guy's Road Trip is what it's called.
That's awesome.
It should be on this year right now, isn't it? Yeah, the next. Sorry, I got to check with the boss. The next season should be out now, and that's the season we're supposed to be on. So that was pretty cool. And then we went up there, and let me just tell you, first and foremost, with this wall, this is the impact. I'm gonna give you 2 examples, possibly 3 examples with this wall. We get to North Dakota, and we're out there as guests of the American Legion Riders, District 8 from North Dakota. And they take us, and we get set up, and this young Marine is out there. He comes out there the second day, and he's got his wife and these kids around him, and he's hesitant about walking up to the wall. So I walk up there. I'm like, hey, bro, you good? He goes, I'm looking for some names. I have this locator app where I can find all the names. And I found the names he was looking for. And the one thing I do is I read the body language. And I'm like, hey, are you ready for me to reintroduce you to your guys? Well, yeah, I am. And we go up and we find the first name, and he breaks down, and I'm not gonna call the guy's name out, but he breaks down so hard he drops to his knees. And his wife was looking at me, and she's got tears in her eyes, and the kids are there. I'm like, I tell the kids, I said, you guys go walk around, give him some space. Then we take him a minute, we get him back up to his feet, and then he's like, I'm ready. I'm like, you're ready? He goes, yeah, I've got more.
Oh,
And I'm like, okay, it just like you, it hit me. Okay, he's got more. Let's go. Let's get him to his buddies. Let's get him to his brothers. And he made it 1/4 through his list that night. And he's like, I can't do it. Okay, it's all good. It's all good. You take your time. We're here all week. Come back and see me. Come back and see me at night when there's nobody else around. And it's just be you, me, and the wall, and your wife, or whoever else you bring.
yeah.
Eric, the next night, he brought his father.
Oh,
And
wow.
he walked his father to the wall, and he told his father the story about his brother we found the night before.
Mhm.
He was telling his father how his buddy lived and how his buddy died, saving lives of others.
Wow.
And then he looks at me, and he's got this mixture of happiness and sadness and tears in his eyes. He goes, I've got more names. I said, okay, let's do it. Let's find them. And we get them. And he processes it in. And his dad and his wife are there, and they're walking him through. And he's telling the story to his dad about these other young Marines. And we were there, like I said, we were there for 7 days. He visited us 5 of those 7 days. Every day he would come back just to visit the wall, just to sit with his
Wow.
brothers.
That's
Yeah,
so awesome.
it's just,
I mean, that's the mission right there, right? I mean,
100%.
that because he's telling that story. He's telling the story of what you did for him, right? And again, I know you're going to say, "Well, I didn't do nothing," but just hey, but you did. You were there to support him and tell him, "Hey, listen, man, it's okay. Like you ain't got to do this all by yourself. You ain't got to. You don't have to remember this by yourself. I'm here for
Right.
you. You're here. You know, and that's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, oh, man. There's so much that stories like that are what I get goosebumps hearing that. I know
Well, you don't
we're
want to
not
hear the
gonna-
next one then.
well, no, let's do it. Yeah, this is your show. We'll run with what you got. Let's do it.
Well, we went from North Dakota. We went down to Marion, Illinois for about 2 weeks. I think we were down there from different locations for 2 weeks, and we went to the Thrillbillies in Marion, Illinois. It's a off-season collegiate style ball club. The college kids are playing ball, try to get looked at by scouts for the minors, and they hosted us with the Marion VA. And this young man who worked with the Marion VA, I don't know who he had with him, his son or his wife or whatever, his buddy, but he brought a Budweiser, and he sits down in front of the panel where we found his buddy's name. And he's got this Budweiser, and he's just sitting there like this, holding his hat. And he takes a picture and he posts on his Facebook page. I think it's on our.
I was just thinking.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen that.
It's on our
page.
page.
What it was. Yeah.
But he says, brother, I've waited over 20 years to have this beer with you. I can't believe I'm here, sitting here, enjoying this with you right now.
Mhm.
I mean, it pulls at your heart, right?
Yeah.
And then the final piece with taking the wall around, that same time frame we were in Marion, we had a young man who was injured in Iraq, and he lost his brother in Iraq. I'm sorry, no, he lost his brother in Afghanistan. I'm sorry. Well, he was recognized by the ball club, and he had his son with him. Well, his son has never met his uncle.
Mm.
So his father has never seen the wall. So we bring him over, and through my buddy Mike Gasparini, he shows him where his brother's name is on the wall. And as he's trying his best to hold it together, he's trying to introduce his son to his brother on the memorial.
Wow.
It was just
Wow.
a heart-pulling, rewarding moment to be part of that, memory for that family, to be part of that. it's not closure by no means, but it opens that door to allow this family now to heal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the fuel, that's the drive, that's the passion, is we don't promise anything when we bring the wall out except for reintegration. We're going to reintroduce you to your brother, your sister, your father, your son, your daughter, your mother. We're going to reintroduce you to your fellow troop, your fellow service member, your comrade. And it's going to pull emotions. And the one thing that I'm proud of our team for is we're there because they don't have to go through it alone. We're there to help them through that open door, because it's just like pulling that Band-Aid off. It's ripping that scab off completely. And it's not a slow thing because they're eager. They want to see that. And our Vietnam veterans, we pay homage to them because they're the ones that have this wall and they know what it's like. Our generation is still learning. The most troubling conversation I've ever had is calling someone and telling them that we have a wall. Think about that. We have a wall.
Yeah.
And his response was, fuck, bro. We have a wall. And it's just, it's that, I mean, you have to see it. You have to visit it. You have to feel that emotion with it. Because when I walked that wall, there hasn't been any one time since 2017 when we took the wall over from Richard Nichols out in California, where one of my guys on that wall hasn't spoke to me. When I say spoke to me is they pull me to their name and they're like, hey, Staff Sergeant, what's up? I'm here. Where are you? And we have a conversation. We have a private, intimate moment. And then it takes me a few minutes. And generally the wife comes out and she goes, are you good? I'm, nope. I just need a minute. I just, the craziest one is Ron or Ben, Ron Payne or Ben Rosales. I'm like, Ben just talked to me. He told me I was an idiot for getting under the wall. Last year the wall tried killing me. It crushed me. I remember. Yeah.
I remember reading on that, and I was just like, oh my gosh, thing's gonna. I mean, it's no joke getting it around.
No,
it's a special thing. I mean, it's a special. I want to say archive. Is that disrespectful? I mean, that's not this. Yeah, that's. I mean, it is. It archives the names of the brothers and sisters that have went on and given that ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
This could be a 5-hour show. Just to let you know, we could literally sit here and BS, because these shows that I get to do are just two buddies sitting here bullshitting, right? And that's the cool thing about what we get to do. I don't know how much more time you have.
I've got as much time as you allow me, but
we're gonna have to we're gonna have to get you on again, because I want to get into the music part. So let's jump.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And I don't want to shorten it at all. So first of all, you have a great. I apologize for not saying it at the beginning of the show, because I usually do compliment the people that have good websites and stuff. You have a great website. It's very user friendly, very easy. I don't have to fight it as some that you do. And I love that the Romans Warrior Foundation, the 501c3 nonprofit organization, driven by passion and fueled with dedication of selfless service to our country, both at home and overseas. Our volunteers across this nation assist our military veterans, Gold Star, Blue Star families, first responders, their families with resources from the foundation. Everything that you guys gives back to the foundation. It goes to those families. Yeah. I love that the donation is right up front. It's like, listen, to keep this going, like to see the pictures, the smiles, the flags, to see the wall, to know what goes on behind all the nonprofit shit, for lack of a better word, an educated word. It's awesome. It's great. I do want to do Stop 22 tour. That's where I want to go to next.
Let's kick it.
So the cool thing about it is veteran and combat singers, songwriters utilizing the music, right? I literally just took that from your thing. It has been remarkable. It is utterly amazing the sound that people can put out, knowing that it's their therapy. Like they're using it as therapy, and they're damn good.
Yes.
Like they sound good, man. Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me how that kind of got popped off.
It was kind of crazy. So again, Stephen Cochran, we served together in Afghanistan under the 1-6, 22nd MU, all that stuff, right? So we were over there together, and he noticed that I started the Romans Warrior Foundation. Well, he started this thing called the #Stop22 Tour. And it does exactly what you say. He captured veteran artists that were utilizing their songs, their sound, to be able to save lives through non-traditional means of music therapy. And he's like, hey, bro, I just found this thing. I think we should work together and let's, for lack of a better word, let's lock shields. How can we partner up? I'm like, bro, you just did. All you had to do is reach out. What can I do for you? How can I help you promote this mission? And what we've been able to do since 2017 is every time, well, I can't say every time, the majority of the time that we go to display the Global War on Terror Wall of Remembrance, we have the Stop22 artists come out and provide some entertainment. Now, people may think, well, why in the hell would you do that with a memorial? Because the one thing that every veteran I've ever served with will tell you, do not mourn my death, but celebrate my damn life. Don't cry at my funeral. Celebrate and tell them what I lived for and how I lived to enjoy life. So the Stop22 tour coming out along with that wall, it provides a sense of ambiance, if you will. So we've got this memorial that reminds our combat veterans of what the hell happened. And then you got this song. This song is explaining, hey, bro, sis, I got you. I know how you feel. Listen to what I'm saying on how I got through that same battle. In the songs of Stephen Cochran, When a Hero Falls, he's got a new one out called Self-Medicated. It's about how you just got to find that thing that works for you. And sometimes it's the illicit stuff. It's the alcohol. It's the over-the-counter pills or the over-the-counter pills, to be able to get that self-medication so you don't feel that hurt. You got Tyler J. Satterfield. He's got the song, this more powerful song called The Circus, right? It talks about the Marine Corps, but it's not just, hey, man, I don't really miss the Marine Corps, but I miss the Marines and sailors I served with.
Yeah.
That's Sal Gonzalez, who throws a song out there called Heroes that tells a story, a true story. It's kind of changed a little bit to protect those that were involved, but it's about his lieutenant who didn't make it home.
Yeah.
And it pulls at that raw emotion that says, hey, man, I've been in that mud. This is my story. Don't let your story drag you into the mud further. And we tied that together. Stephen and I, we got together and we started bringing that every time, or the majority of the times that we would put that wall up, because it would allow that open door to stay open instead of being slammed shut after they find their name on the wall. And we had Chris Turner and Jonathan Wells out with us in Colorado. We took them to a private party, and Jonathan Wells has a song called Bullets. Bullets in My Pocket. And this guy's sitting there and he's listening to it, and he's grabbing my arm. He's like, hey, man, how can I get that song? How that song talks about me. And I'm like, hey, man, here's his link. Go get the song. And so the Stop22 tour, it started with open mic nights in Murfreesboro. And now it's open mic nights in Murfreesboro and Columbia, Tennessee. And we've got another guy out in Florida that's doing the same thing. And it's bringing the ability to have our combat veteran or veterans and first responders come in and use a platform where they're not going to get judged. They're not going to get made fun of. They're not going to get fussed at. All we're going to do is, hey, if your sound might be a little off, we're going to help you tweak that sound to get better.
Yeah.
Tell us your story. Say a poem. You don't have to sing. You don't have to play an instrument. You don't have to talk. Get up there and do whatever, you want to be a mime. That's your platform and your safe zone to be able to get up there and do that without judgment in a room full of your peers. We're there to insulate you and protect you, not to throw you to the wolves. And Stop22 tour is that whole encompassing of the camaraderie, the brotherhood, that esprit de corps, that taking care of our brothers and sisters after the fact, that follow-on care. That's what Stop 22 is about, and that's why we've got them under our umbrella as one of our programs.
If you had to play a song from Stephen Cochran, what would you play?
Honestly, Friday Night Fireside, because it's upbeat, it's fun, it's a really go get 'em song. But then if you listen to like that's self-medicated and you truly listen to those words, I can tell you that song was written for me. But I know it wasn't, but that's how I feel when I listen to that song.
Yeah.
You know?
Give me 1 second. Give me
Yeah,
1
you're
second. I'm trying to.
I'm throwing a lot at you, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, again, this is what we're here for, but I wanted due diligence. I don't know if it's going to roll through it or not.
I love Mark Peterson. I paid him really well to say those nice words.
And he's just a legit dude, right? I mean, I appreciate all the shout out and the props and propaganda that he throws at us here. You're right. No, it is. It's about growth and relationships. And I've been missing a little bit on their show on Sundays and you know, go do yourself a favor and follow the People's Patriot Project. There's links to all these veterans. There's the organizations that give back. I'm having an issue, so I can't play it, but I'm definitely going to get a link on there. You have
Which
a few
one?
people.
Which one you're looking
It's
for?
it's the Stephen Cochran one. The Friday.
Friday Night Fireside.
I'm not listen. Remember, I'm a one man show, right? So I don't
No,
have
I
a
got
whole
you. I
production
got you.
team like some of us do. Just saying.
No, I got you. No, Mark Peterson and Mark Peterson, I'm going to give him a shout out, especially everything he's got going on with WP3 Radio.
Right there it is.
My brother gets it, man. I mean, he gets the whole locking shields. He flew out to Nashville, and I didn't get to spend the quality time I wanted to with him, and I apologize to him. I apologize to him at the launch party for Label 22, and I apologize again. But that man flew out to Nashville just to be there to support us and what we're doing with this label launch. I mean, bro, he gets it. His team gets it. You know,
Like I said, I mean,
love the guy.
I got text messages from the last 2 days. I need to be worried. I'm like, nah, brother, you don't need to be worried, man. I'm good. I appreciate the message. And the thing about Mark is he goes, man, I got to lay pause on that boy. I got to lay pause on him. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm a big boy, and Mark made me feel small. I mean, but that's how it is we have big hearts. And it doesn't matter how big you are. The point being is we do this because we care. It's what I'm doing to give back, right? It's my platform that we've started this show. We get to talk to, I mean, dude, like I said, man, it's like we're sitting here drinking sweet tea or a shot of Jack. Doesn't matter what it is, right? I know. It's not even manly drinking out of a straw, is it?
Well, I mean,
it's a
well,
Stanley,
sippy cups
right?
are a thing.
Well, I'm just telling you. Put on your war face, biatches.
Well, and Eric, I know we're running out of time for this episode, but let me just say, so if I can, the Stop 22 tour was the catalyst for what became Label 22. In our other programs, quick shout out to them. We got RWF Field Ops. Our Field Ops program, we took a guy out of a bass boat, threw his ass in a kayak, and he has done so much for an impact that started with a 45-minute conversation, and he fell in love with what we're doing. And this young guy, Gene Campbell out of Colorado, he's got our Field Ops going to Colorado, Missouri, Kentucky for what we call what was originally the Romans Warrior Foundation retreat events, right? So Gene is running those under the Warrior Field Ops. He's taking vets. He's taking their families. He's putting them in kayaks. He's putting them on the shore. They're going fishing. They're having a damn good time. And it's building camaraderie within that family. And again, that non-traditional form of therapy is bridging the gap where that war has furthered that. And he's pulling them back together. And it's amazing what they're doing. There's a teaser out there. There's something possibility about taking over a fishing tournament series nationally next year.
Wow.
And that's kind of the teaser we're going to leave you with.
Yeah.
We've got,
all right.
the
You heard it here first.
Hoosiers with Hearts disaster relief. Dave White, he won my heart over. His son is perfect. His son is his biggest cheerleader. He is his son's biggest fan. His son has autism, and I'm sorry, Down syndrome, and he's going through a lot of different things. But Dave is always there for his boy. I fell in love with Dave because Dave does barbecue. Since I
Oh, there you
left
go.
North Carolina, nobody in Indiana knew how to do a Carolina burger, right? Carolina barbecue burger. And then Dave pulls up in a food truck and he's got a sloppy Carolina. I'm like, dude, I want one. I ended up buying 10. The first damn day I bought 10 of them. Took them home to my wife and I'm like, here you go. Here's a Carolina
That's
sloppy
awesome.
burger, you know. And
That's awesome.
we've been friends ever since. So he runs Hoosiers with Hearts Disaster Relief. It's a little arm of the Romans Warrior Foundation where when the floods hit Kentucky, he deployed his food truck and his team, and they fed over 2,700 souls for free.
That's so awesome. That
And
is
then
what it's
next thing you
about,
know,
man.
another food truck that's in our little tournament, inside of a tournament, they went down there. And then Guy Fieri's people are going down there feeding people. And it just, you know, it's this big catalyst that has this great explosion, right? But there's our shout out to our programs. Our big thing, brother, is how the Stop 22 tour propelled Label 22 without us even realizing it, right?
Yeah.
So we have this young man, Chris Turner. Chris Turner is a Marine. He's a singer-songwriter. He's going to yell at me because I'm going to tell everybody he's driving Uber to try to make weight, right? Because his dream and goal and passion is to make music. So, but he's not laying down and only doing that. He's burning the candle at both ends, trying to make a living. He's harassed me since 2018. Hey man, why don't you start a label? Why don't you start a label? I said, dude, I don't know. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I know zero about music. I can help you run a nonprofit. I will go to the ends of the earth to help a veteran first responder, Gold Star family, but I know shit about singing, songwriting, playing an instrument. Zero. He's like, man, but you can run a nonprofit. I said, yes, I can. So Steven is the program director and founder of Stop 22 Tour. He's like, hey man, do you really want to do this? I'm like, yeah, we need to do this. We need to do this because Steven has been in the Nashville music industry for years. And he has tried to consult these veteran singer-songwriters that are getting roped and used and swallowed up out of Nashville. I was going to say a totally different word, but I had to stop.
Yeah.
But
Gotcha.
and they strip these individuals of their personality, and they're coming to us and like, hey man, this is what we're dealing with. How can we do better? So Steve and I were like, well, you have the music knowledge. You try to consult these guys before they get hooked by these big labels. And how can we insulate them? Well, let's insulate them by protecting them. We'll create a package. And then once they get to a certain level, then we will assist in that transition to a bigger label, a deeper music label. We're not here to be your nesting zone. We're here to be your launching pad. Let us help you launch you as an insulated package so you own your name. You're not in debt $1.5 million.
Yeah.
You have the rights to your music you busted your ass to write and record. You know, all we want to do is help propel you. And if you give us a shout out, cool. If you give us a kickback, cool. We're not asking for that because, again, Label 22 is also, guess what?
501c3.
That's right. So,
Brian, we're gonna have to do a section. We're gonna have to do a part 2.
let's do it, man.
I appreciate you, man. Love you for what you do. Again, tag me. I feel like we're social media whores in that aspect of we'll be tagging and cutting this up and having a lot of stuff go on.
Amen.
Just
Amen.
keep going, JD. Just keep going. Again, Brian, thank you. And there was a shout out for Shannon too. So
Yep. So, and I'm
Shannon.
glad Mark did that because I wouldn't be able to do what I do without my support system, and that's
Yeah.
Shannon. Steven wouldn't be able to do what he does without his support system, and Megan, and the Cochran kids and the Romans kids being able to help us and understand that while they're doing their teenager thing, we're trying to help many more lives, and it's bigger than us. And I'm so thankful that they all understand that. Thank you, Mark, for doing that.
You know, it's It's the good American blood, warm-blooded, hot-blooded, foundation that we need to instill in our kids. I screwed that up, but my point is I always tell people I'm not my kids' friends because I need to put my kids out there in the world to be
Right.
productive citizens. I love y'all now. I mean, I think that's awesome. That's great, But again, I'm not your friend, but I'll lay a foundation of you can't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot. So
That's right.
Brian, thank you, sir. We kind of went off the rails there for a minute, but I get what you're doing and I appreciate what you're doing. Hang
you.
on. I'm going to kick you to the back real quick, but
Cool.
don't go nowhere. Hang on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Wow. I'll tell you what, there's so much more information on the website. Please go to, shoot, where did it go? Sorry, guys. Go to RomansWarriorFoundation.org. Go through there. There's 4 different organizations that support other organizations that help support other people. If you can donate. If you can buy a shirt, a hat, whatever's on the pamphlet, open it up, read it, check it out, see what they're doing. Just, good, great American people that freaking love their country and love their fellow human beings. So, we appreciate everything that you guys do. And we have a few things that we got to get to real quick. Again, I got a new link. The link to the store kind of got screwed up. So I want to bring this up real quick. Again, we've got our shirts and hats and t-shirts. We're bare knuckle, man. Whatever this cost is, that $24.99, I think it costs like $22 for the hat, which I actually love the hat. I don't love it because it has my logo on it. It's actually a really nice fitting hat. It's the classic. It's called the classic. So it fits nice. It doesn't make you look like a little kid. We also have the everybody wears, remember everyone deployed Red Friday edition. We have old logos, new logos, coffee cups and stuff like that. Everything that is on the site here, it goes back to veterans. It goes back to support. Again, follow this link here. And, if you can support. I also appreciate the likes and the shares and the comments. And who's the big winner today? Mark Roman. Mark tagged Romans Warrior. Yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Again, go do something for someone that can't repay you because that's what good Americans should do. Tom Attinger, you got anything for us?